Welcome back to another edition of Special Situations Investing with Greg. This week I'll be talking a little bit more about the Petroteq tender offer and the recent extension on that tender offer. Check it out. Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of my YouTube channel on Special Situations Investing and my personal investing practice. As a quick disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only. Any companies that I mention in this presentation are discussed solely for illustrative purposes. Discussing such companies and the specifics about them is to help educate me and educate you about certain special situations. It is not a solicitation to purchase them. I recommend that you conduct your own research and identify why you might want to own the company yourself prior to your committing of any funds. I also recommend that you seek the services of a financial advisor that has considered your personal situation as your fiduciary. And then finally, may your education here grow your knowledge, improve your personal investing performance, and give you the confidence to take control of your future. Thanks a bunch for watching. Now on to the video. On the 24th of February, Viston extended their tender offer for Petroteq shares. This had a couple of different reasons that go along with it. Namely, the biggest one will be the CFI US clearance. And I'll get into that specifically, but I thought that it would be good to spend a little bit of time looking through this extension and kind of where we are and how far we've come on this tender offer, and you can just kind of see where this comes from. This extension goes through the 14th of April 2022, but they specifically state that may be shortened pending the approval process for the CFI US portion of their tender offer. You should know when you participate in tender offers, and more particularly when you participate in tender offers that are for mergers or acquisitions, as this one is, that there are often certain types of regulations and rules that must be satisfied prior to the consummation of the tender offer. For example, for Petroteq, the Hart-Scott-Rodino Act, or HSR Act, must be satisfied prior to the consummation of the tender offer. And HSR is a grace period after a tender offer is announced or a merger and acquisition is announced that allows the Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission in the United States to go in and look at the merger, identify whether or not the merger meets or presents any antitrust violations. For a tender offer like this, according to Thomson Reuters' legal website, they state that this is a 15-day grace period, and the HSR requirement has been satisfied according to the most recent filing, and it does indicate that at least this portion of the regulatory hurdles has been satisfied and overcome. The second regulation for the Petroteq merger is also based on the stock exchange where it is occurring. In this case, it's the Toronto Stock Exchange in Canada, and because it's occurring there, it must meet the requirements of the Canadian Stock Exchange. And in this particular case, it's the Investment Canada Act, or ICA Act, and again, this one has been satisfied according to the most recent filing. Finally, a third regulation must be satisfied. This third regulation meets the requirements for the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S., or CFI US. CFI US is a written approval essentially from cabinet level advisors in the federal government that allow or basically state that the company does not meet some sort of defense protection requirement, and if it doesn't, then they don't have to worry about it. If it does, sometimes they have to make sure that it's not giving away our military or some sort of economic secret that would allow the United States to maintain some sort of military prowess and dominance. I expect that part of the reason why this portion of the regulation must be met is because that act, or the act that is part of that, was written back in the 1950s, and at that time oil was a huge thing for the defense industry. It still is, but it was very significant and very important at that time, and that means that in the act it probably identified specifically that the oil industry is one of those areas where this approval had to be obtained prior to a merger from a company from outside of the United States. I don't know for sure. That's just my guess, and I'll probably do some digging and find that out for myself. If anyone does find that out and you want to share it with me, I'd be more than happy to hear your opinions on it. I know I'm not perfect. I thought that would be interesting to see and understand. On a high-level note, and just a final thought on this before I turn over this video to letting you guys comment and give your opinions, the overall requirement for this tender offer, according to the regulatory environment, looks like they have to have 50% plus 1 share of the outstanding shares of the company. At this time, the total current tendered shares represent 39% of the total shares outstanding, and on a diluted basis, just around 35%. Those shares have all been completely tendered, and you add in pending tenders. So pending tenders is when someone like you or I on the retail side, we go out and we purchase shares and then we tender them, and we've given our instruction to our broker that allows them to go ahead and do our best interest in a tender offer in this case. That is what happens when you participate. Those people that go ahead and do that, they have the opportunity to then influence it. And in this case, there's about 15% of the total shares outstanding that is currently under this pending tender status. So these are shares that are held by TD Ameritrade or Schwab in someone's brokerage account, and the person that owns the shares has given instruction to Charles Schwab or TD Ameritrade to go ahead and tender their shares. With that in mind, they go ahead and they're going to tender their shares, and that puts it, there's about 15%. We go back to the numbers on that. 15% plus that 39, that puts you just over that 50% easy. If we're going on a fully diluted basis, it's just under the 50%, and there may even just a few shares, and this is actually an interesting thing. As a small investor, you could actually influence this tender offer by either holding your shares and not tendering them, or tendering them if they're going off of a fully diluted basis. I'm pretty sure that the tender offer is going to go through. From the way that it reads, it looks like the tender offer was not identifying on a fully diluted basis how it should go. It was identifying the shares prior to that dilution. The confidence level that I have is that this is going to go through is relatively good. However, that doesn't mean that I'm adding additional shares. And part of that is, this is one of those moments where you have to practice rationality or train rationality, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago when I talked about the inner game of investing, or practicing patience, where you have to wait for an extension after extension after extension. And participating in a tender offer like this sometimes can be trying on one's patience, but I think overall in the long term it should turn out all right. However, I don't want to add additional to this because I don't want to risk more funds at this moment. If I had additional cash, I might reconsider, but there are always opportunities out there. Hey, thank you for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, concerns, thoughts on this particular tender offer, please share them in the comment section below, and I look forward to hearing from you. If you haven't already smashed the like button and you do like this type of content, this is a great way for you to give back for this free content that I provide on the internet for you. And if you haven't already subscribed, subscriptions do make it easier for me to continue to find that what I am doing is valuable to you as an investor. Thanks a bunch for watching, and we will catch you next week.